Welcome to the Financially Free Journey podcast, and I am your host, Courtney Dyer. Hey, thanks once again for tuning back in and listening to the different topics that we have to help you gain your knowledge and feel confident on your financially free journey. And today's episode is going to be a little bit different than the ones we've been talking about in the past. We've been focusing on budgeting and paying off debt and planning for retirement, but today I want to talk about some money tips for recent college grads or just people that are in their early 20s. They are early to adulting, and there are a lot of things that our society does not teach. And so when you graduate high school, you're expected to be an adult. You're expected to go become a working member of society and to be able to understand how to be successful. But what we aren't taught a lot of the time is how to be financially successful and what decisions we need to make early on, because as a young person in your early 20s, someone who's just graduated from college or high school, you have one of the biggest advantages, and that advantage is time, and time is money. And so I wish that someone had told me these things, or at least I had listened in my early 20s. And so I want to be able to share this information and hopefully help some people get on the right track financially at an earlier age, so you have that advantage. Because when it comes to being prepared for retirement or being financially free, or obtaining those things that you want to obtain, whether it be a home or traveling the world, making the right financial decisions and that compounding interest and growth on your money is a huge advantage. So let's get into these tips. The first tip that I want to share is really visualizing your future. And one thing that is critical is understanding where you're trying to go. What are you trying to achieve? And as someone who's in their early 20s, that you want to be successful, and you may not have a defined vision of what a successful, happy life looks like for you, but it's a really good time to sit down and think about and plan what it looks like. Do you want to become a millionaire? It's not too early in your early 20s to start planning on how to become a millionaire. If you want to be wealthy, if you want to travel the world in your early 20s, that's the time to plan it out. And it all starts with visualization. A lot of very successful people use visualization as a tool and a method to help them achieve those long-term goals and aspirations. So it's going to give you a roadmap for what you need to do to accomplish each year, month, week, to stay on track. Create a visualization board and define what those goals are. So then that way the financially free journey that you choose to take for yourself is going to support those long-term goals and aspirations that are truly your goals and your dreams. The second tip is think like an entrepreneur. It is such a good time to be a young individual, a graduate of high school or college, because the unemployment rate is super low and there's few barriers to earning a full or a part-time income as your own boss. And being an entrepreneur comes down to recognizing how value is created in the world and then capitalizing on that value. And even if you work for someone else, you need to make a commitment to use your talents to generate more value at work. Becoming indispensable to an employer or even to your own customers if you open up your own business, that's the key to earning more money and having sustainability and surplus of discretionary income. And what that translates to is building wealth. So think like an entrepreneur. Understand what value you bring, create that value, and make yourself indispensable. That's the second tip. The third tip is invest early. Investing early is a powerful edge. I mentioned earlier that time is money, and it truly is. Investing smaller amounts to grow for longer periods is exponentially more powerful than trying to catch up later on in life. It's the power of compounding interest, and it allows your investments to generate massive earnings over time. I want to give you a little visualization of what that looks like. If you wait until you're in your mid 40s, you're established, you've got, the home, the car, you've got the right income, quote unquote, to start investing, right? That's a common misconception. If you wait till you're in your 40s, you'd have to invest $2,000 a month to be able to become a millionaire by the time you reach retirement age, which is about, your mid 60s with a 7% return. But if you started in your early 20s and you started investing $400 a month with a 7% average, you would be a millionaire in your mid 60s. So think about that. $2,000 a month or $400 a month. It's substantially less upfront, and that power of compounding interest and gains over time is going to get you that same result, but it was a lot easier on you. So time is money. Invest early and create a good nest egg for yourself. It'll give you the opportunity to either choose to become financially independent and retire early, or to have a really good nest egg to be able to retire at traditional retirement age, or it'll give you an opportunity to help others, charitable giving or supporting your future children through their college experience. Whatever you choose to do, it's going to set you up for success. And it ties back to that first tip of visualizing your future and what success looks like for you. And as soon as you start earning, and you land that job after college, make sure that you make a goal to invest a minimum of 15 to 20% of your gross income. And again, that's before taxes. So I would highly recommend, before you get used to that income and receiving it in your paycheck, just immediately invest it. It is the wisest decision you will ever make, because you won't get used to receiving that income and spending it on things that aren't truly going to make you happy. But retiring early or having the option to be a millionaire in your 50s or 60s, that is going to make you happy, right? So make sure that you have a minimum of 15 to 20% of your gross income that you either choose to participate in your 401k if you have that opportunity, or a 403b. There's also the individual retirement accounts, commonly called IRAs, and that's another self-directed retirement account that you can choose to contribute into. So make sure that you know what your options are. It also brings down your taxable income when you are contributing to a qualified retirement plan. So that is a huge tip. Again, time is money, and it's an advantage that you have in your early 20s. The next tip is using debt cautiously. Now, you may see this with either your own family members or friends or older siblings, but a lot of people get caught up in our consumerism society and keeping up with the Joneses. And now that I've graduated college, I need to buy a nicer car, or now I need to look at purchasing a home. And though those are honest intentions and things that may bring temporary happiness, you need to cautiously look at the tool of debt. There is good debt and there is bad debt, and you need to understand what kind of debt you can afford, and if it's something that is going to make it hard on you, where you are stretching your income, you're having a hard time paying your bills, it may be something to take a second look at before you commit yourself to a loan and to debt that it's going to take you several years to pay it off. Make sure that you build up an emergency fund of at least a few $1,000s as soon as you can. If you are prepared for unexpected expenses like car repairs or medical bills that aren't covered by insurance, you are going to be in such a better spot than a lot of your peers. So, make sure that you are using debt cautiously. And also, if you are having to use credit cards to get yourself out of financial emergencies, that's a sign that you need to take a step back and you need to build up that emergency fund and not get yourself into debt that you can't afford to pay off. So make sure that you are not counting on credit cards to bail you out of financial crisis, because if you can't pay it off, you're going to get stuck with a huge interest charge, and it's going to grow month after month, and it's going to make your emergency cost even more than you thought it was going to cost. That initial $300 emergency will end up being $1,000 in the long run because of the compound interest, and it's such a high interest rate. So steer clear of that. And if you have student loan debt, which more than 50% of students who graduate from college have student loan debt, make sure you understand the terms and conditions. And if you haven't landed a job yet, make sure that you understand what your loan repayment options are. And if your loan repayment option is too high relative to your income right now, contact your lender and discuss the other various repayment options. There's a lot of options available to you, but make sure that you don't just avoid your student loans, because it can be depressing, but make sure that you understand the terms and conditions and exactly what the best repayment option is for you based off of your income and your current situation. And I just want to leave you with this. You can easily become a millionaire if you start off on the right financial foot by visualizing your future, creating value, living on less, and investing early. And again, be cautious about taking on new debt right after graduation. Thanks again for tuning in, and make sure that you're following us on Twitter at FinanciallyJ, on Instagram at Financially Free Journey, to get more tips and motivation daily and to help you get on that financially free journey. Until next time.